right? What the heck? Hey, you know the Jehovah Witnesses don't celebrate Halloween? I found that very interesting, and with all due respect, it's probably because of its origins in pagan that is, and the connections to spiritualism. And the choice is probably based on biblical principles that discourage the involvement with the occult and those things that are considered to be spiritually unclean. And I draw from all this that the Jehovah Witnesses don't celebrate Halloween because I guess they don't appreciate random people coming up to their door. But I will say this, whenever the Jehovah Witnesses come up to my door, there's always an adult with one absolutely gorgeous young lady with them. Kind of holds my interest, and I get in a long conversation about my beliefs. This week I'm an animist. How do you say that? Animalist? Animist? Animist. That's how you say it. Yeah. Shamins. Samhains. It's really pronounced Soin. Baron. Soin. And the bogman breeze, peat dark water still. Above the sickle moon cuts summer's throat, and I have enough trouble being in this skin. This shuddering pulse without a stitch on, ghosts and goblins, druid fires lick the hills, their smoke a veil where living breath and bone drift to ash, and the reaper lends his blade against the gate. And we wore oak leaves once, chanting, chanting, chanting in the groves now gone. Pope's Saint March, where the wild gods were praised, a Samhain fest renamed and not erased. Tonight's the threshold thin, the dead press close as damp soil. I feel their sigh against the door. Who are you, they whisper. Wind in the dry corn rustles. Who are you? The owl cries and screeches from the thorn. I've spent autumn just remembering my name. Now winter rattles the latch. I'll light no flame, wear no mask, only stand here raw and plain, a trembling harvest facing the blade again and again. I tell you about my buddy. He went to a Halloween party a few years back, dressed as a chicken. Met a girl dressed as an egg, and he told me that the age-old question was finally answered. The chicken. And the next year, he dressed up as a screwdriver for Halloween. It wasn't the best costume, but it turned a lot of heads. Well, yeah, it's another October 31st, and the air turns crisp and cold. My friends are planning parties, stories both new and old. What are you going to be, Hairman? They ask, with a glitter in their eye. And I just kind of mumble, want to crawl inside and cry. 'Cause honestly, it's true, it's harder than it seems to pick a fake identity, fulfill those spooky dreams, spooks and goblins through the night. I have enough trouble being myself day in and day out, you see, without pretending to be someone else, just for this wild spree. It's the eve of All Hallow, the veil is thin and blurred, but my real life awakens is already quite absurd. Do I go as a superhero? Or maybe a zombie clown? Just being me is tough enough without turning upside down. And they say the Samhain, pronounced so-in, Samhain, so-in. Kind of neat, really. A Gaelic festival where the living and the dead might meet. And the ancient druids lit their fires, a grand and smoky haze, warding off the evil spirits through the long and scary days. Yeah, bonfires blazing bright under the moon's pale glow. Maybe a Celtic deity put on a scary show. And somewhere out there in the bog, a mighty body might just lie, a king or a prince or a queen. But me in the borrowed wig, that's the scariest thing to try. I remember one time I thought I'd put on a dress and talk like a female. I tried it in the mirror and it scared the bejeepers out of me. I had to crawl back in my shell. Yeah, it's the eve of All Hallow, the veil so thin and blurred. But my real life awkwardness, I'm already quite assured. Do I go as a rock star, or maybe a mystic gome, or maybe Hercules? Just being me is tough enough without leaving my comfort zone. Or maybe I could be an anime. Ah, yes, and I remember way back in another lifetime before I reappeared as a goblin and a ghost today. Pope Boniface the Fifth, or was it the Fourth, I think, way back when he had a brilliant plan, created All Saints' Day to supplement the pagan clan, turned Samhain, into something else, tried to smooth the ancient ways, but still we felt the harvest vibes on this wild, wicked day. The Reaper Man is yielding his sickle, saying, "Death to summer gleam," opening the door to winter, coming on like a spooky, chilling dream. Scary days, my friend, indeed, when the season starts to shift. But my biggest fright is finding a costume that's a gift. Something cool and sleek that makes me feel okay, instead of looking like I'm stuck in some weird, awkward play. Oh, it's the eve of All Hallow, the veil so thin and blurred, but my real life weariness is already quite assured. Maybe just a funny hat, or skip the whole dress-up bit, 'cause I've had enough trouble being who I am. I really gotta admit. Yeah, Halloween, it's a blast, with candy and fright and all that booze and parties and smoke. But getting through the party, just being me, that's the biggest plight. Happy sewing to each and every one, and don't let the bog bodies bite you, or pressure to be someone else throughout this spooky night. So I've decided what to do. I'm going out tonight to walk in the forest deep in the dark under the sliver of moon in my birthday suit with all the goblins and witches. And I won't light a fire. I'll wait for the skeleton to appear. I always get Halloween and Valentine's Day confused. They're both about candy and being something you're not.